You know it, you love it, and you're probably addicted to it too. Loot systems. But did you ever stop to think about why and where they came from and the psychosis of what's so wonderful about getting loot? Let's take a look at it right Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Boss Battle Show. I am Adam Ronan.
I'm TJ Combo.
And we are going to talk to you about trends.
And what is that trend right now?
Loot.
That's right, dig in them pockets, find that money.
Boom, I don't have any because I run a YouTube channel with barely any subscribers.
But for those of you who are watching, there is a reason that we're talking about this, and I think it's a trend that goes back much further than video games.
It goes back very far. But if you think about gaming today, the loot system is becoming almost a mainstream event in all kinds of gaming. There are two different kinds of loot systems we can talk about.
And we are going to break them down.
We are going to break them down. But first of all, why don't you take us back to the past? Let's talk about the addiction of loot systems and looting.
Right.
Where did that start?
I'm not exactly sure when it started or where it began, because I'm sure there's always been some form of this. But for me personally, I will tell you, it was sports cards. Right?
Exactly.
Sports cards as well as character cards. So when I was a kid, and I still have the entire collection of all of my football cards, but it was also my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards that I collected as well.
I still have those.
Yeah, we're going to look through them later.
We are.
But there is something that you were always looking to try and find that one magical thing.
Yeah.
And like, for example, if I'm opening up a football card pack, I want to maybe find my favorite team or the top players or the rare card, the one that is, that card you've heard about that's worth, a large amount of money. It's got a value to it for what I'm doing.
And it is a very addictive process. For me, growing up, it was also Ninja Turtle cards. I wasn't into sports, but my vice was Garbage Pail Kids.
Garbage Pail Kids, right?
And it was the Atom Bomb. You wanted the Atom Bomb from the Series 1, and you bought numerous packs. Well, I'll buy one more, $2. One more pack. Mom, can I have $2 more? I'm gonna get one more pack.
And it's so obtainable, right? Because it's very bite-sized chunks. And what happens is you open up a pack, and I don't get my favorite team.
Yep.
I don't get Atom Bomb. I got a couple, scraping through the car, found a couple quarters, found a nickel on the way through here. Oh, I got $2 more. I get another pack. Open up. I didn't get it. I got to get it again.
But Jimmy down the street does have Atom Bomb.
Yep.
Well, I'll give you 2 puking Susies or whatever for your one Atom Bomb.
Exactly.
And
so you then trade those things.
Trade.
Why? Because they have a value.
That's right.
Right? So that's what we're going to talk about, is how that loot system and that value has been recognized in the gaming industry. Because now people want to use that to their advantage.
Yep.
And also to your disadvantage.
Sometimes indeed. So we could probably go, and these might not be the best examples because we didn't always play all the games that have ever existed, but for me, looting really started with like Diablo and Warcraft, where it's very treasure-based. You kill an enemy and they do a loot drop, and you've got legendary swords or rare weapons that you can equip that have higher damage to kill enemies with, and it's like, oh my god, I need this sword, I need that axe, I need this and that.
And basically, I think Diablo is one that really gives us a great example of that, because it placed a monetary value on each individual item. Your sword is currently worth 12 gold, right? And then I find a sword that's worth 15, does a little bit more damage. I'm going to equip that because it's better, but now I can sell my other sword because I no longer need it.
Yep, or trade it with other players. If people in your party, this guy's got a legendary something, you drops it, you pick it up, you trade him this.
And it's a very basic system, but it's one that you'll go on that adventure for over and over and over again.